Hello, my friends. Me again. Same place, essentially the same time. But now we're on to chapter 2 of Restart. As I mentioned at the end of chapter 1, we can recognize that the narrator, the person that was telling the story in chapter 1, was Chase Ambrose. He is kind of the star of the story. He's the centerpiece of the story. He's the kid that fell off the roof and sustained a concussion and now has amnesia, meaning he can't remember anything about the life he once had. He didn't even recognize his mom. So now we're moving on to chapter 2. You'll notice here that the chapter is titled Shoshana Weber. That's not Weber, it's Weber. So Shoshana Weber. And this is going to be helpful because this lets us know from whose point of view this chapter is told. Okay, so this is going to be from the point of view of Shoshana. We don't know who Shoshana is yet, but now the narrator switches. This is no longer Chase talking, but this is Shoshana telling her side of the story or her perspective. So don't let it confuse you. We're going to notice that all throughout this book, each chapter changes point of view. Okay, so it's going to be really important that you pay attention to the title of the chapter because that's going to let you know who is telling the story at this point. So, let us begin with chapter 2. Shoshana Weber. And look at this little thing right here. This is a text exchange, right? So I'm going to read it. It's going to sound kind of weird, but understand that this looks like two people. Shoshana, I'm sure, is one of them, and J.W. Piano Man texting. Shoshana, Shosh 466 says, "Hey little bro, want to smile?" J.W. Piano Man, question mark, question mark, question mark. Shosh 466, "Alpha rat took a header off of his roof and almost killed himself." J.W. Piano Man, "By almost, you mean?" Shoshana 466, "Sorry, still alive, but supposedly messed up. Just got out of the hospital yesterday." J.W. Piano Man, "Any chance beta and gamma rats fell with them?" Shosh 466, "Nope, solo performance. Don't get greedy." Smiling yet? J.W. Piano Man, "Now who's being greedy?" Now remember, this is Shoshana talking here, okay? "I exit messages and call Joel because I'm worried about him. I always worry about him. He's my younger brother. 14 minutes younger, anyway. But if the thought of Chase Ambrose falling off his stupid roof onto his stupid head doesn't bring a smile to Joel's lips, then something is seriously wrong." Okay, so we obviously know that Shoshana 466, or Shosh 466, that is Shoshana's handle, her text handle. And then J.W. Piano Man, we can infer, is probably her younger brother, her twin brother, right? He's 14 minutes younger, and his name is Joel. So J.W. Piano Man is Joel. So, and if Chase falling off the roof doesn't bring a smile to Joel's lips, then something is seriously wrong. Besides the usual, I mean. "Hey," he answers. Page 14. Even in that single syllable, I can pick up the discouraged tone in his voice. He's angry and homesick, and who can blame him? It's not like going away to boarding school was his first choice, or even his 20th. "Is Melton getting any better?" I ask, almost afraid to hear the answer. That's Melton Prep and Musical Conservatory in New Britain, Connecticut. Hey guys, real quick, a conservatory is a music school. They get reading and writing and that sort of stuff too, but the focus is all on playing instruments and being in an orchestra or ensembles like that. So he has gone away to school, a boarding school, which means he sleeps there. So he doesn't live at home anymore. So she's there at the house. Her twin brother is off at musical school at the Musical Conservatory in New Britain, Connecticut. What can I tell you? It's exile. I don't argue with him. I mean, how can I? Joel's a talented musician who belongs in a place like Milton. But that doesn't change the fact that he'd still be at home starting the 8th grade at Hiawassee if it wasn't for what happened. So how are the other kids? Okay, he replies without much enthusiasm. They're all losers, like me. I'm probably not going to get picked on, if that's what you mean. There are no pickers here, only pickees. That bugs me. You're not losers. You're there because you're winners. You have talent. Yeah, well, there's a reason why I can't live in my own town, and that has nothing to do with me playing the piano. It's Alpha Rat, and you know it. If he fell off of a skyscraper instead of his own roof, I'd be on my way home right now. So who's Alpha Rat? Yeah, Chase. They're referring to Chase Ambrose, the kid who fell off the roof, as Alpha Rat. It tells me a little something about Chase before the fall. And somehow, Alpha Rat, or Chase, is linked to Joel having to go off to school somewhere. I have to let that pass because it's the bitter truth. I'm on the last paragraph of page 14. Chase Ambrose and his 2 disgusting friends hounded my poor brother out of town. The thought of it amazes me, even though I saw it happen. I still can't figure it out. Chase isn't Darth Vader or Voldemort. He doesn't have the Force or dark magical powers. And yet he, Aaron Heichman and Bear Bratsky, made Joel's life so miserable that my parents had no choice but to find him a school in another town. We tried to fight it. My dad spent so much time in the principal's office that it would have made sense for him to leave a change of clothes there. But nothing could be done about the bullying. Most of the time, there was no way to prove who was doing it. A random foot tripping Joel in a crowded hall, a shoulder rammed into him in the chest that sent him sprawling. Sorry, man, I didn't see ya. Dog poop pushed through the vents on his locker. His clothes mysteriously disappearing from the changing room to be replaced by a rabbit suit. When a science project wound up being smashed or a painting ruined in the art room, it was always Joel's. On the night of the talent show, when the fire alarm was pulled, it was during Joel's piano performance. It started with just Chase, Aaron, and Bear. Eventually, though, it spread. The other kids, well, they couldn't help but to notice that every time someone was making a fuss or protesting, stuffed into a locker or mummified with toilet paper, it was my brother. And before you knew it, Joel was the school victim and the school joke. His life was practically unbearable. Who do you blame? The principal? Dr. Fitzwallace did what he could, but most of the time there just wasn't any evidence. Sure, he could make the occasional try. There was this time that Chase chucked a lacrosse stick at Joel's bike and the butt end got jammed in the spokes. Joel went flying over the handlebars and wound up with a sprained wrist, a black eye, and a nasty scrape on his jaw, stretching from chin to ear. Well, there were plenty of witnesses for that one. Page 16. Dr. Fitzwallace, the principal, was all set to throw the book at Chase. A long suspension, like the works. The school board overruled him. They agreed that it was wrong to throw the stick, but insisted that Chase couldn't have predicted that it would result in serious injury. Yeah, the real reason was that Chase was the town's sports hero, and the son of the last town sports hero. Chase's dad had a lot of admirers on that board, and my family just didn't. The only time anyone was able to pin anything on those 3 idiots, it had less to do with my poor brother and the fact that it cost the district money. At the big open house in May, Joel was invited to play the piano. He's by far the best musician around here. If none of the other kids appreciate it. Anyway, Chase, Aaron, and Bear planted 6 cherry bombs. Those are those loud exploding fireworks, those little firecrackers that make that big boom sound. So they had planted 6 cherry bombs inside the school's baby grand, that's a piano, timed for the middle of the performance. I can still hear Joel's scream when the big firecrackers went off, splintering the wood of the piano. Well, I think that's the part that makes him such an irresistible target for the chases of the world. They know that they can always get a reaction out of him. After that, Joel couldn't even walk down the hall without a bunch of football players making fun of how scared he was. We were all scared, but it's only Joel that they remember. The irony is the case against Chase and company had nothing to do with the attack on my brother. Nope. It was the damage to the piano that got the administration upset enough to bring in the police. The juvenile court judge sentenced Chase, Aaron, and Bear to community service at our town's senior citizen home, as if the elderly deserved that. You'd think that Chase would leave Joel alone after that. It would have made sense. But sense has never been an alpha rat quality. So my parents found a new place for Joel, because as long as that bully was around, my brother would never be safe. Joel's probably right that if Chase had fallen off a skyscraper instead of just a roof, he'd be able to leave Melton and come home. Sometimes I feel like I should be up on that tall building, pushing Chase over the side. But that would make me no better than him. And I am better. Everybody is. This is an upset sister, isn't it? Can't you hear the anger in her voice? Shoshana really wanting to defend her brother Joel, who had been consistently picked on. This is a sad story. The night before the first day of school, remember Shoshana's talking, my dad always used to take Joel and me to Heaven on Ice, which is one of those self-serve frozen yogurt places. Even though Joel and I are twins, our dessert strategies are totally opposite. I get vanilla yogurt with just a handful of chocolate sprinkles. Joel prefers a thimble of yogurt and 99% toppings. It's a competition who can load up the most weight. I don't want to go this year. Come on, Shosh, my dad wheedles. That's kind of, wheedles means begging. It's a tradition. All your friends will be there. Yeah, well, not my best friend. Dad gives me a sad smile. So you and Joel are best friends now? When he's home, you two fight like cats and dogs. We should be home now. I know Dad's trying to help, but I'm determined to be miserable. Page 18. We've been over this 1,000,000 times. This is the best thing for Joel. Whatever the reason he's there, he'll learn to love Melton for the music program. In the end, I let him talk me into going. Mom and Dad are worried enough about my brother. I don't need them stressing over me, too. It's so weird to be at Heaven on Ice without Joel. I see Hugo and Mauricia. What is that name? Mauricia? We'll call her Mauricia. That's easy. Mauricia. And the first question they ask is, how's Joel doing? The way they say it. It's like he's been shipped off to the moon or, like, not Connecticut. I don't want to deal with the whole sob story again, so I changed the subject and asked them about camp. They both went to a sleepaway that summer, like a sleepaway camp. Right when Hugo was telling me about his life and death struggle with the pup tent, I spot him. The jerk. The worst person in the world. Can you guess who that is? Exactly. Chase has a few small cuts and bruises on his face, although nothing like what I was hoping for. His left arm is in a sling, but that's about it. He's standing in front of the row of yogurt dispensers with a timid look on his face, like he honestly can't decide what flavor he wants. Isn't that classic? The kid who feasted on Joel, chewed him up and spit him out, can't make his mind up between strawberry banana and rum raisin. Too bad they don't have poison. He must feel me glaring at him because he glances up and catches my eye. He looks right through me at first, which is insulting enough. And then he does something so horrible that I can barely believe it, even from the likes of him. He casts me a shy smile. All the anger that's been building up inside of me since Joel left for Milton rises to the surface like magma. Before I have a chance to think about it and stop myself, I stalk over to Chase. I get right in his face and I tell him, "You've got some nerve grinning at me like that after what you did. You stay out of my way or you'll be sorry." I take my beautiful vanilla yogurt with chocolate sprinkles and dump it on his head and sweep out of the store. My father's in conversation with one of the other dads and almost misses me storming past. "Done so soon?" he asks. And then he looks back inside and sees our family's arch enemy, dripping frozen yogurt and sprinkles all down his face, dabbing at himself with a soap napkin in his one free hand. "Car's around the corner," Dad mumbles, hurrying me away from heaven on ice. He's embarrassed, sure, but maybe also just a little bit proud. And how do I feel? I thought there was nothing Chase could do to make me madder than I already am. Now I stand corrected. Every time I think about it, my blood boils a little bit hotter. After all of the bad history that went down between him and Joel, I swear he looked at me as though he had never seen me before in his life. Like he hadn't played a starring role in destroying my family. Wow. And that's the end of chapter 2. Think about why Shoshana is so angry at Joel. Nope, not at Joel, but at Chase. She loves and misses her brother Joel, who has been sent off to school to keep him safe, because it sounds like, from the stories that Shoshana is telling, that Chase and his two friends, Aaron and Bear, were the biggest bullies in the school and just terrorized Joel to the point that he no longer felt safe at school. That sheds a little light. And then what made her so angry was that she's so angry at Chase. You know, Chase has been such an active participant in tearing their family apart, as she put it. And Chase doesn't even recognize her. How insulting. She's got to feel really hurt by that. All right, guys, that's the end of chapter 2. You now probably have some questions of your own, and I've got some questions for you. So be sure to check out your Google Classroom for some vocabulary practice along with some comprehension questions. And we'll talk about this second chapter in your small reading group, okay? Have an awesome afternoon, and we'll see you back for chapter 3.